My name is Lisa Connors. I'm with the Office of Public Affairs, and I'm here today with Dean Klein from our Office to Prevent and End Homelessness. Recently, we had a wonderful opportunity to partner with George Mason University, a communications class, on a great project that we're going to update you on this afternoon. So I wanted to first, Dean, if we could, for anyone who's not familiar with the issue of homelessness in Fairfax County, talk a little bit. We had a recent announcement about our point-in-time count, just a little bit of information about that before we go into the survey.
Sure, yes. We've been working to prevent and end homelessness on our 10-year plan since 2009, and we were very pleased with our point-in-time count, where we count individuals on one particular day who are living in shelters, transitional housing, maybe living in the wooded areas in our community, to see how many homeless there are. We saw a reduction, and now we've seen overall since 2009 a 47% reduction in our homeless numbers.
Great. And on this survey, we sent out the survey on March 23rd, I believe, and we got a phenomenal response. Working with this wonderful group of students, we were able to get almost 1,600 responses to the survey.
Yes.
And Fairfax County, you had a lot to say about this issue. We had over 200 pages of comments, which we're still going through. And I just wanted to let you know, if you were, first of all, if you did fill out the survey, thank you very much. And we expect to we have to go through the comments and information to provide a report back to the community, and we expect to do that in mid-May. So, Dean, back to you on the survey. We had George Mason University came to us with this opportunity. For you, what was the benefit of working with the George Mason group?
What a great opportunity it was to work with the students who I think were just unbelievably creative, really came up with some great questions that we were able to include in the survey. They've been very thoughtful, very thorough in terms of being able to really understand what the issues are around homelessness and how we can really synthesize the questions and the results.
Great, great. So we have the survey results, and we're going to be speaking to one of the George Mason students in just a moment. So we have the survey results. We're going to announce them in a couple of weeks. What do you think the next steps will be after that?
After we get the results, we're really intending to really come up with some key talking points, some focus that we can take to our key stakeholders, our nonprofit, faith, and business partners, to really share with them what we've learned and to develop some action steps to really engage the community in different ways so that we can get more people involved, we can get more volunteers and resources to apply to preventing and ending homelessness.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dean.
Sure.
Now we're going to speak to Amy. Amy is a senior at George Mason University, as one of our communications students. And I wanted to ask you, we came up with about 8 questions, I believe, for the survey. How did you all come up with the questions?
Well, our team leader, Erica, she created a Google Docs, and all of us had the responsibility to make up questions that we thought were appropriate for the survey. And then we checked with you and Dean to see if these questions really got to the points that we wanted to get to, especially with all the Fairfax County residents. So that's how we came up with it.
Great, great. And the questions were wonderful. How did you all go about sending out the survey to our residents?
Well, first it went through the Fairfax County government's social media, and then our group in George Mason, we got it through the communication department at George Mason, and we also put the link in our personal social media accounts.
Okay, great, great. And so getting back to the survey, what kind of feedback, when you all were talking in your class or amongst your friends on campus, or even from other professors, etc., on campus, what was the kind of feedback that you all got when you said that you were doing this survey on our homeless community?
A lot of people were actually shocked. They didn't even think that this was an issue in Fairfax County, but they were also very excited that we had the opportunity to get to participate in something like this.
Okay, awesome. And how many, we actually, you said you sent out the survey also on campus, and how many students did we get responses from?
125 students, which we were very happy with that turnout.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. And also, so what were your, what did you learn, or your classmates learn from the survey, from the comments that you saw on the survey? And there were a lot of them.
There were.
And what stood out to you all?
I think one thing that stood out was just how everyone was very shocked about this issue. No one really thought this was a concern, especially in Fairfax County. But we also had comments that people understand that the cost of living here is very expensive. So a lot of people were aware of that.
Okay, great. And so, just so you know, if you're not familiar with the survey, some of the questions that we asked were, have you had an experience with someone who is homeless? Another question was, we got a lot of responses on that. Another question was, have you or someone you know been at risk for being homeless? And I think that was a big surprise for us, the number of people who responded to that and the comments that we got on that. And again, we'll be including that in our results. What was on the survey that surprised you all or that you weren't expecting?
I think the responses themselves and the actual amount of people that even participated in the survey, over 1,600 people. So that to us was the biggest surprise.
Great, great. And how about the other students on the project team? Have you heard from them individually about what they learned about this?
This survey really did open all of our eyes. The same day that we talked about creating this survey, we noticed just down the road there were tents, and we hadn't even noticed that until we talked about this issue. So it really did open our eyes and that this is a problem in our county.
Right. And I did see in the comments that there was a Mason student who said that they were at risk for being homeless this summer, couldn't find any place to live, or were couch surfing around on friends' apartments and stuff. So that really brought it home for you guys, I'm sure, too.
It really did.
If there's one thing that you would like people to get from this survey once we announce it in mid-May about the message about homelessness in Fairfax County, what do you think that should be?
Well, that this is an issue, and it could happen to anyone. That these people aren't different from anyone else. They're problems that every one of us can face, and we can all have the risk of being homeless one day. So it is an issue that we should all be concerned about.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. A big shout out to George Mason University students. It was, I think, a really good experience for everybody that was involved. So again, we'll have the survey results coming out in the middle of May. And we will send it out. You can look for it on fairfaxcounty.gov/homeless or do a search on the county website for homeless survey, and you'll be able to find it. We'll also be sending it out on News Center. So again, thank you very much to our community for filling out this survey and giving us this really valuable information as we move forward. And thank you to George Mason University for their participation.